Hey guys, welcome to this mini guide for cooking. I'm your host, Lazy Boy Kyrandis here. Today's guide is about cooking. I'm just basically going to go over generalistic stuff just to get you started, and also if assuming this is kind of like the only thing you're doing or whatever, right? It's very much like alchemy in a sense, but then there is more tiers of recipes that you do have to go through. For quick reference, just press F2 if you want to look at like crafting notes for items or what's required. Generally these don't really provide like a number of items that you need for the recipe, so but the game does teach you throughout. Otherwise you can just look it up online if you're that lazy or you don't want to discover it for yourself. The game does teach you a lot of recipes for a lot of the foods as you level up. Some of them do have requirements before you're able to craft them. I believe it's about like skilled 1 or professional 1, and then you can basically craft everything. The higher tier your cooking rank is, the better the chance or ability to be able to create higher tier food becomes available. So at beginner 1, you won't really be able to make like Balanos specials or like Serendia specials or just like those top end meals that some people like myself can make. So to get started, if you haven't seen the getting started on the life skill or whatever video, I suggest you do that. But one of the ways to quickly level up your cooking is basically cooking a lot of beer. But beer is also the other thing that feeds your workers to help you gather. When you're gathering resources for cooking, you probably want stuff like along the lines of vegetables, like paprika or like olives or whatever. Like there's some here, paprika here, and then there's also like there's like a fruit node up here for grapes as well. I think that's the only fruit node in the game. Otherwise, you can purchase that from fruit vendors in Halcyon. I don't recommend it. If you haven't seen the farming video, farming helps you get a lot of the sub-ingredients that for practically nothing, just for a little bit of a time sink. So, you know, money does kind of grow on trees. But you basically get your farms here, and then you start cultivating fruits or whatever vegetables or whatever things you need for crafting. But in terms of beer, you just need grains or cereals, whatever you want to call them. Grains is like potatoes, corn, wheat, barley, any of those forms of things. They're all over the world. There's tons of nodes of them everywhere. And that's the only ingredient you need to make beer. The other ones can just be bought simply from chef vendors or innkeepers. Innkeepers generally sell a lot of the sub-ingredients to make beer, and beer is something that you use to feed your workers. The more you craft, the more you'll be able to get some turn-in products as well. If you need to find like a tool just to start, you can buy them straight from this guy right here. Any of the innkeepers sell them, whoever sells leavening agents or sugar and mineral water. I highly suggest like picking up like 60,000 of these, or like so the sugars or mineral waters, and then just put it in your store so you don't have to run back and forth like a maniac. That's a lot of time loss. I'm trying to save you as much time as possible here. Cooking utensil, if you're gonna go to sleep kind of thing, maybe like use a Balanos traditional cooking utensil because it's added 5 seconds, so it does take longer to craft, but the durability is higher, and also I'm assuming you're gonna go sleep or go away for a long period of time. Most of the times you should actually just to figure out how long you're going to go AFK for, do one craft and see how long that takes, and then multiply it by the tool's durability and how many times you're going to do it, and then you have your time. So most of the time it's you will either, your craft will range from anywhere from like 15 minutes to like, you know, a couple hours or whatever, depending on what you're doing and what you're holding. The other thing, if you want to make higher end tools, I highly suggest taking number 3 house glitch over here. The tool workshop can go up to level 4. The level 4 will basically enable you to create tools that are at the maximum utility for alchemy and cooking. Cooking for itself, if you use the advanced cooking utensil, it subtracts 1 second off the cooking time. If you want to reduce the cooking time even further, I highly suggest getting a silver embroidered cook's clothes at higher tier. Lots of people sell them. I sell them. Sometimes I buy them too, even though I make them. But and then smash these together and hopefully get a +1 or +2. And then you've got an alchemy stone. So alchemy stone also reduces the time as well. You can also eat sponge, teff bread or whatever to help reduce it even further. If you really want to go full efficiency, then also take up a teff sandwich, which also teff sandwich reduces it by 0.5. It does not stack with the teff bread. That's basically a time gated problem at some point in the future once you have enough resources. One of the main bottlenecks regarding cooking is milk and meat. Meat, basically, you probably have to gather it yourself. Otherwise, if you're lucky enough to buy it off the market from people selling it, from people who just gather, you can find a lot of meat in Lynch Ranch up here, just lamb meat. A lot of people go there to gather the meat or the blood for either alchemy or cooking. That you can generally, in about 1 hour, blow about 420 energy and yield about 2,100 meats or so, if you're just going like hardcore on it. That's at gathering rank 5 or whatever, so maximum speed. And then that's pretty much it. The more you craft, the more byproducts you get. So the more byproducts you get, you can also turn those in for CP or for milk as well. You get byproducts that you can turn in for milk, but then you have to craft like a crazy amount in order to get the right amount to have enough milk to work with. Otherwise, I highly suggest growing part of it with haystacks in your farms. It does take about 6 hours. It is the longest product, but it's very easy to manage and highly suggested if you're going to go into cooking. And then the other things are just the other stuff I've already mentioned. So with the byproducts or whatever, that is one way to gain your CP in for pretty much the most AFK way possible, along with alchemy. Alchemy does very much the same thing for a different amount of products. But most of your money for cooking comes from either making like high-end tiered special procs of meals or just items or foods. People use them all the time, especially milk teas. Like even though I can make like thousands of milk teas, sometimes I get lazy and then I just buy it myself across the market because I ran out all the way to Valencia and then I forgot to pick up some and then I'm too lazy and then I buy it, and that's what happens. But people buy like milk teas and things like that for experience boosts or whatever, just to shorten their grind time. They buy it for attack buffs, for damage, for wars, and all sorts of things. Some of the harder things to make are obviously like Margoria food and Valencia food, because it requires like lion meat, which you have to run all the way out here to get, or you have to go underwater and dive and hit the stuff or whatever in order to get it. So those are some of the harder stuff, but it obviously does sell because they do give some of the best buffs in the game. And then also, if you have no interest in combat or whatever, when you go gather like the bottlenecks of materials such as like lamb meat or whatever, you could also get hard shards and sharp shards, and you can just sell those immediately if you have, like I said, if you have no interest in combat, and that basically can feed your resource pool to get other resources faster by, you know, setting up like money and pre-orders on items. That's generally how some of the people do it, because they just don't care for combat. They just craft all day and whatever. And finally, the other thing for money making is like obviously Imperial Crafting. So Imperial Cuisine, you turn these into boxes, but you do need a certain tier of cooking levels in order to craft the boxes. So when you're at apprentice, you can only make the apprentice boxes, and then as you get higher, you can make all the preceding ones. So once you get to master, it's like, you know, these ones are very high up there. They do cost a lot, but generally making the easier stuff is more profitable. But then so does everybody else do it. So then the market's always sold out very frequently, and drop-off points are in Olvia, Heidel. I believe there's one in Calphion as well, and also in Valencia. You don't need the world connected, but however, you can only sell a number of boxes per day, and it's only half of your CP, or 1/3, depending on if the developers decide to nerf or buff it again. It went from 1/3 to half of your CP. And then so if you're able to sell that off, and then you'll get seals for it. When you get enough seals, you can trade those seals in for pretty decent items, either for furniture or black essence, which you can use to make black crystals, which are highly sought after by a lot of combat enthusiasts, and that will also feed your market for money as well. So, you know, it's just, you know, huge circle cycle. One of the other problems is that you'll probably need a lot of storage space because of all the different kinds of foods you're going to get from it, or either that you're going to need it for all the extra materials and the sub-materials that it's going to need. So it's not going to be as messy as mine, because mine is also involved with alchemy as well. So it's really, really crazy. And then there's also either that or just shuffle it around between your storages, which is what I do very often. Total mess, but You just get choice paralysis after a while. So you do have to keep track and get yourself comfortable into a rhythm before you go into it. This is why I say just do one, don't do everything. So if you're gonna pick up alchemy as well, do be wary of, like, you know, you probably want to get a pad of paper and start writing things down. Anyways, I hope this helped you out, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye for now.